Hello everybody! Passion and drive are some interesting things. A lot of people struggle to find something they burn for, and those who have found something often burn out on it for one reason or another. There's probably some commentary in here on the detrimental effects of hustle culture and late-stage capitalism under the focal lens of an attention economy, but this is something I'll only scratch the surface of in this video, let alone finding solutions to it. If you've seen any of my other videos, I'm not somebody who has answers. I may have some things that work out for me, but they are far from universal. At the very least though, I can show you you're not alone with the struggle. So let me introduce myself real quick. Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm an artist, primarily working on story projects and illustrations. I've been on the internet since I was 12 and posted my first art piece in late 2008 when I was 14 years old. Let's observe a moment of silence for feeling old. A quick look at my follower account across all platforms will also tell you, being at it for long and doing something regularly is not a recipe for taking off. I've been drawing way before that though, sharing it with friends at school, and it was bliss. Those first couple of years posting on the internet was on Animex, which is a German anime and manga website, and those times were great too. I made friends on that platform and simply had a lot of fun with art. But that wasn't going to be always so. With time, the expectations I had on my art grew, and that was a recipe for disaster. And that brings me to the drawing in the background. I was tabling at a convention recently, and I was very excited for that convention. It was basically a music festival, Comic-Con meets Ren Fair. And the concept is great, and I was thinking that's going to be so much fun, and then it wasn't. There were very few visitors in the artist alley, and on the second day already I felt so tired, but I figured, hey, it's Saturday now, might be better. Still, when I left my house that day, I checked myself in the mirror, you know, as you do, and the image I saw was somebody who was just very tired and didn't really want to go. And then there are also the demons you're carrying around with yourself all the time, and I figured let's kind of paint something like that, because especially when it comes to online stuff, we always see a very curated part of what people want to show us. We never truly know how somebody feels, and I kind of wanted to put that into a drawing. So let's get back on topic. Passion and drive. For me they are an ebb and flow, mostly kind of cyclic, and I've managed to pinpoint some of the contributing factors of the ebbing in myself. But I feel not being 100% passionate about something all the time is natural, not necessarily a cause for concern. We're humans, not machines. And no, AI does not count as an artist, not even by a long shot. Doing something else, recharging the creative batteries and just gaining some distance and perspective is fine and needed. However, there are two particular lows for me in the past. One of the lows I sort of recovered from, and the other I never got back into. Let's start with the one where I gave up, which is singing. I do not sing in front of people anymore, at all. I had gotten one comment from a friend while I was still in high school that my singing is awful and awkward, and she wouldn't be around me anymore if I kept singing. So I stopped. And to this day, the only place I actually sing is my car, when I'm alone in it. And I don't think I will ever change that. The other low point that I sort of recovered from was where I didn't pick up a pencil or any drawing tool really for months. It took me a while after that to repair my relationship with art and also temper my expectations on myself and also how my art performs online. And I'm still struggling. There are times I'm doing better and times when I don't. And then there are those times when I really don't. So let's go back to the year 2022. We are still in the thick of the pandemic, paper prices have gone up like crazy, driving printing costs way up there. And here I was with my little webcomic, Soul's Journey, attempting to have a print run for it on Kickstarter. Already in the years leading up to this campaign, I have seen a decrease in readership, The numbers and time spent on the webcomics website were slowly going down. But I had a successful Kickstarter for a little side project just 2 years earlier, so I wanted to try anyway. I had also already finished drawing the webcomic at that point, so I could quite easily calculate the book lengths and have a look at the printing costs and everything, so everything was as finalized as possible. And yet, the Kickstarter didn't fund. I still managed to get the books printed via Ingram Spark, but the failed campaign affected me nonetheless. In a way, it felt like rejection, even though there were almost 70 people who showed their support and believed in the story. As I said, I had already finished drawing the comic, so the pages and social media announcements were all scheduled, so few people actually knew I was struggling reconciling the perceived rejection and creating at that point. For what is the point in creating anything if nobody wants to see it? It also turned me off from working on my next story as a webcomic. Q's story was originally planned to be one, but now I'm working on it under the assumption that it will be an illustrated novel instead. I'll make it happen eventually, still working at the kinks and the outline, but getting there. It's no secret that I've eventually picked up a pencil again and started drawing once more, but my relationship with my webcomic was tainted by the experience. While I'm still proud of what I accomplished, I can't help but look at the comic and feel sad. But I apparently also can't really let it go because I'm talking about it again. The relationship isn't relationshipping. In fact, at the time, I thought I wouldn't draw any comics anymore, ever. But even that turned out to be just a bit overdramatic, as I'm currently chipping away at a short story whenever I have the time. I mostly work on those pages while I'm streaming too, so keep an eye out for the streams. With that said though, it could have gone very different. I could have stopped drawing, I could have stopped writing. I could have stopped engaging with anything online, the latter probably being the healthiest part of that. And all of that because I relied on and craved that external validation. Now, I'll be the last to tell you not to be disappointed and frustrated about having to fight algorithms. It's natural to seek the validation, but do so in a healthy manner please, unlike me. Instead, find out why you're creating in the first place. Let's play a little game here. Imagine you're in a post-apocalyptic world. There's no more internet, you haven't found a group to join yet, but food, water and shelter are secured. What would you do in your downtime? There's no technology to distract you, no validation to seek, nobody is watching you. What would you do? I'll give you a couple of seconds and feel free to share in the comments below. If I could get my hands on a pencil and some paper, I'd be sketching. If those are unattainable, I'd go with a stick and draw on the mat. Toothless style if I have to. Because for me, drawing is like processing the world. Something that requires some brain power, but not too much. And while I do it, I work through my emotions, the day's experiences, through the emotional highs and lows of stories I've read and watched. It helps me put everything into proper shelves and, to put it into high terms, bring order to chaos. And that ultimately is what saved my relationship with art, if not the relationship with certain projects. That doesn't mean I don't get frustrated about social media, the popularity game, and the addictive nature of the dopamine release when numbers go up. I'm just a tattered brain piloting a tired flesh suit, and I'm sure you are not that different. Remember earlier when I said I had fun on that first real site I joined? Yeah, I don't feel that excitement with social media. Never have. Instead, I get overwhelmed and overstimulated while doom scrolling. There's just so much flooding my brain. There's no pause, there's no end to it, and everything seems so unapproachable. I've deleted my profiles on a lot of social media a couple years ago. That was freeing. Until FOMO reared its ugly head. I didn't rejoin the platforms I left. Instead, I looked at what else was out there. I've got a Blue Sky, Pillow Fort and Kara outside YouTube these days, and I don't post all that regularly to either of the three. I do so at the moment because it is art fight, and I want to show off other people's characters, but I'll likely go super irregular again once I've run out of those to post. Since there's no algorithm on those sites to punish me for that, I don't feel as much pressure. Still, there's this lingering fear of not posting and not growing. It's ingrained and I hate it. I hate how it makes me feel. I hate how it makes me feel about art and how it commodifies my efforts. And I hate how every post feels like taking part in the lottery. Like with an actual lottery, of course we imagine what it must feel like to win the big prize. And like with the actual lottery, chances are slim at best. Some people are better at gaming algorithms than others, and I'm definitely in the latter category. I've gotten a little better over the years, not letting social media get close to me like that, especially since I've dug a little deeper to find out why I draw. I've not come close to losing my passion for art again after that real big dip. However, I quite regularly have musings of deleting my profiles online and just vanish into the woods to become local folklore. I'll just be some cryptid among the trees until the tax agency comes around, because I'm sure cryptids also have to pay taxes. Another aspect I want to briefly touch on is changing creative outlets. Sometimes changing how you're creative can help take the negative connotations and yeet them into the sun, while still keeping the creative juices flowing. For me personally, this doesn't work for long, however. As I've said above, drawing has always been my main way of processing, so I keep coming back to it, but I'll dabble in other things occasionally. None hold my attention quite like putting lines on paper or digital canvas. That said though, I do feel that some temporary breaks are better than none at all, and maybe we don't even need that clean cut to step away from what we've been doing most. So yeah, I'm a work in progress, still learning how to be actually kind to myself and how to balance this whole drawing and being online thing without spiraling into the depths. But at the end of the day, aren't we all? That's about all I've got for you today on the topic. Now there's just a little announcement here at the end. I'm changing up my posting schedule a little. I feel like I'm sort of in a groove of making videos again, so I'll upload new videos every other Monday. There'll be these kinds of talky videos and the work-along videos in turn. I'll at least want to try this out for a while and then reassess in a couple of months. Anyway, keep slaying your enemies in honorable combat for the glory of the Empire. Kapla.